you ever wondered why some people at 65 wake up full of energy, ready to enjoy their day, while others feel drained, achy, and desperate for another hour of sleep? What if I told you that a simple, little-known trick, something so basic yet so overlooked, could mean the difference between waking up sluggish and waking up refreshed, even as you age? And what's more, only about 2% of seniors seem to know it. Wouldn't you want to be one of them? Stay with me, because today, you're going to discover how a simple, natural adjustment could completely transform the way you sleep and live after 65. Before we dive in, if you're excited to take real control of your sleep, your energy, and your health, make sure you hit that subscribe button. You're not going to want to miss the tips that could completely change your life after 60. Now, think about this. Why does sleep seem to betray us as we get older? You work hard your whole life, you raise a family, maybe build a career. And just when you finally have the time to enjoy yourself, to travel, to garden, to play with your grandkids, your body suddenly forgets how to recharge. Nights become restless, mornings are painful. It feels unfair, doesn't it? But is it really just part of aging? Or is there something else happening? Something we've been misled about for decades? The truth is, aging changes everything inside your body, but it doesn't have to steal your deep sleep. There's a tiny biological trigger that scientists have identified, a process that subtly breaks down with age, making it harder for your body to fall into deep, restorative sleep. And here's the kicker. If you don't understand it, you could be making it worse without even realizing it. You see, most people assume that the problem is just getting older, or maybe a bit of stress. Maybe you've even tried all the typical advice: a new pillow, a firmer mattress, chamomile tea before bed. But none of those things fix the core issue, because they're treating the symptoms, not the cause. And if you don't fix the root problem, no amount of fancy pillows or herbal teas is going to give you back the deep sleep your body desperately craves. Here's the real question you need to be asking. Why does the brain lose its ability to cool down properly at night after a certain age? And what can you do, naturally, simply today, to reset that system? Now, before we get to the trick that only 2% of seniors seem to know, let's build some quick background. Scientists have shown that for your body to slip into deep sleep, that magical healing phase where you restore energy, repair tissues, boost memory, and strengthen your immune system, your brain's temperature actually needs to drop by about 2 to 3 degrees. It's like flipping a switch in your body that says, okay, time to shut down, recharge, and rebuild. When we're young, our bodies do this automatically. But as we pass 50, and especially after 60, that switch starts to malfunction. Your body struggles to cool the brain effectively at night. And that's when the tossing and turning starts. That's when you wake up feeling like you didn't sleep at all. Now here's where it gets even more fascinating. This process is controlled, in large part, by a simple molecule most people have never heard of: adenosine. Adenosine builds up in your brain while you're awake, creating that sleep pressure that makes you feel drowsy. But if your body's adenosine signaling is off balance, if it's too low or too high, if it peaks too early or too late, your sleep can be ruined. And guess what affects adenosine levels more than almost anything else? Your diet and your daily habits. That's right. It's not just your age. It's not just stress. It's the little choices you make every single day, often without even thinking about them. And here's the part that will shock you. You can recalibrate your adenosine system naturally. You can trick your brain into restoring its youthful, sleep-inducing rhythm. No dangerous pills, no expensive therapies, just a few subtle adjustments. Now you might be wondering, what are these adjustments? Why doesn't your doctor tell you about this? Why does this life-changing information seem hidden in plain sight? Simple. Because most medical systems are designed to treat problems after they become disasters, not prevent them. Sleep medications rake in billions of dollars every year. If everyone over 60 started sleeping deeply, naturally, without drugs, do you think pharmaceutical companies would be happy about that? Of course not. But you're about to be different. You're about to know the truth. You're about to reclaim your nights. The first and most critical change: resetting your circadian rhythm, your body's natural clock. Scientists at Harvard Medical School have found that even tiny disruptions in light exposure can desynchronize your internal clock, leading to fragmented, shallow sleep. It turns out the most powerful drug to fix your sleep is sunlight. Yes, sunlight. Specifically, morning sunlight. Within 30 minutes of waking, you need to expose your eyes, without sunglasses, without a window barrier, to real, natural morning light. Even if it's cloudy, even if it's only for a few minutes. This single act triggers a cascade of hormonal responses that tell your body daytime has started, which then helps your brain know exactly when nighttime should begin. Miss that window? Your adenosine cycle gets thrown off. Your melatonin, the sleep hormone, gets released too late. Your brain doesn't cool at the right time, and boom, you're staring at the ceiling at 2 a.m., exhausted but wired. And here's where most seniors slip up. They stay indoors too much in the morning. They might open a curtain or turn on a lamp, but artificial light simply doesn't have the same intensity or wavelength as real sunlight. Studies show that indoor light is up to 100 times weaker than even a cloudy morning outdoors. Now imagine the cumulative effect if you miss this crucial trigger day after day, year after year. It's no wonder sleep quality plummets after 60. But you can change that starting tomorrow morning, and it costs nothing. Are you starting to see why only 2% of seniors know this trick? But that's just the beginning. There's another biological secret that most people never think about, and it has to do with what you eat at night. You've probably heard the phrase, "You are what you eat." But when it comes to sleep, it's even more specific. You sleep how you eat. Let me ask you something. Have you ever had a heavy, carb-loaded dinner, maybe pasta, bread, dessert, and found yourself tossing and turning later? That's not a coincidence. When you load your body with sugar and starch late in the evening, you spike your blood sugar and then crash. That crash triggers a surge of stress hormones, like cortisol and adrenaline, right when you're supposed to be winding down. Your heart rate speeds up, your brain starts racing, and deep sleep becomes almost impossible. Instead, research from Stanford University suggests that focusing on a high-protein, moderate-fat, low-carb dinner can dramatically improve sleep quality. Foods rich in magnesium and tryptophan, like salmon, turkey, spinach, pumpkin seeds, naturally enhance your body's production of melatonin and support deep, uninterrupted sleep. And here's a curiosity that might surprise you even more. The timing of your last meal can be just as important as what you eat. If you eat too close to bedtime, less than 3 hours before, your body is still busy digesting when it should be preparing to cool down and heal. Digestion is an energy-intensive process. It keeps your core temperature high. And remember, for deep sleep, your brain needs to cool down. That's why the world's top longevity researchers, like Dr. Valter Longo, recommend something called early time restricted eating. Simply put, you finish dinner early, ideally around 6 or 7 p.m. You give your body time to digest fully before bed, and in doing so, you naturally trigger the body's ancient sleep mechanisms. It's such a small shift, yet it can lead to massive, life-changing results. Deeper sleep, sharper memory, faster recovery, even a stronger immune system. Imagine waking up at 6 a.m., not groaning as you swing your legs out of bed, but smiling. Ready for a walk, ready for a day filled with energy and vitality. That can be your new reality, just by tapping into the systems your body was designed to use. Now you might be wondering, if it's so simple, why don't more people do it? Why is it that out of every 100 seniors you meet, maybe 2 actually wake up feeling truly refreshed? The answer lies in consistency. Everyone wants a magic bullet. Everyone hopes for one perfect night's sleep after one good day. But the body works through rhythm, not randomness. It's the small daily choices, the morning light, the early dinner, the right foods, repeated over time, that rebuild your natural sleep architecture. And the longer you stay consistent, the deeper and more effortless your sleep becomes. You stop fighting your body. You start working with it. So now that you know about the critical power of morning light, early dinners, and the right foods, you might be thinking, what else could be silently sabotaging my sleep, even when I'm doing everything right? Let me ask you, have you ever considered how your breathing at night impacts your sleep depth? It's something almost nobody talks about, yet it's a silent thief of rest. Researchers from the National Institutes of Health have uncovered that as we age, the muscles around our airways can weaken slightly. This makes breathing just a little more effortful at night, enough to fragment your sleep without you even realizing it. You might not fully wake up, but your brain exits deep sleep again and again, pulling you back to lighter stages. Here's the incredible part. You can train your body to breathe better at night without machines, medications, or gadgets. One powerful natural method is simple nasal breathing. Studies show that breathing through the nose instead of the mouth while sleeping can stabilize blood oxygen levels, support heart health, and deepen sleep cycles. So how do you encourage nasal breathing if you've gotten into the habit of mouth breathing at night? One trick that sleep researchers recommend is practicing nasal breathing exercises during the day. It sounds almost too simple, but a few minutes a day of conscious nasal breathing, even while watching TV or reading, retrains your muscles and nerves to default to nose breathing during sleep. And for those who need an extra boost, lightly taping the lips closed with a gentle, skin-safe tape at night, known as mouth taping, has exploded in popularity among sleep scientists. It's safe, it's non-invasive, and it's been shown to dramatically reduce nighttime awakenings and oxygen drops. Of course, always check with your doctor first, but for many people, it's a total game changer. Now imagine stacking these simple habits together. You get morning sunlight, you finish dinner early, you choose foods that support melatonin, and you breathe deeply and quietly through your nose all night long. Can you picture how your body would start to change? How your energy would build up day after day like a battery finally holding a full charge again? But that's not all. There's another tiny tweak, something so overlooked it almost sounds silly, that can give you a massive edge in restoring youthful sleep. It's the temperature of your sleeping environment. We touched earlier on how your brain needs to cool down to fall into deep sleep. But did you know that the ideal sleeping temperature is surprisingly low? Research published in the journal Sleep shows that the sweet spot for deep sleep is between 60 and 67 degrees Fahrenheit. That's cooler than most bedrooms in the US. Why does this matter? Because if your room is too warm, your body struggles all night long to shed heat. You might feel restless, sweaty, and wake up without even knowing why. On the flip side, if your room is a little cooler, it naturally supports that vital brain cooling process, making it easier for you to fall into and stay in the deep, restorative stages of sleep. It's one of the simplest changes you can make. Turning the thermostat down a few degrees before bed, using breathable cotton or linen sheets, and maybe even cracking a window slightly for fresh air. Small shifts, huge rewards. Now let's talk about another invisible thief of sleep, one that's hiding right there in your hand, your phone. You've probably heard about blue light by now, right? That harsh, bright light from screens that tricks your brain into thinking it's still daytime. But here's what most people don't realize. It's not just the color of the light that's harmful. It's the emotional stimulation from scrolling, clicking, reading, and watching. Every notification, every bit of news, every piece of information you consume close to bedtime triggers a little jolt of dopamine, a brain chemical that says, pay attention, stay awake, something important is happening. So even if you put your phone down and climb into bed, your brain is still buzzing, still on alert, still wide-eyed beneath the surface. This is why experts from the American Academy of Sleep Medicine recommend a digital sunset, turning off screens at least an hour before bed. Instead of scrolling through news or social media, you let your mind wind down naturally. Read a book, listen to soft music, chat quietly with a loved one. Signal to your brain, the day is over. It's time to rest. And if you're thinking, but I use my phone for relaxation, consider this. Even calm apps and quiet videos still create light exposure and information input. They're still asking your brain to process and react when what it needs is the opposite, to drift, to let go, to fall. When you combine a cool room, early dinner, sunlight exposure, nasal breathing, and a true digital sunset, you start to build a natural, powerful momentum toward better sleep. You're no longer fighting your biology. You're finally aligning with it. But there's still one more critical piece you need to know: the hidden link between muscle strength and sleep depth. This might sound strange at first. What does muscle have to do with sleep? But stay with me, because this is huge. Muscle is your body's metabolic engine. It burns calories, stabilizes blood sugar, regulates hormones, and helps produce calming chemicals like serotonin and GABA. As we age, muscle mass tends to decline unless we actively maintain it. And this decline can set off a chain reaction that destroys sleep quality. Weaker muscles mean poorer blood sugar control, Poorer blood sugar control means more nighttime cortisol spikes. More cortisol means lighter, more fragmented sleep, and the cycle just keeps feeding itself. But here's the good news. You don't need to become a bodybuilder to break the cycle. Simple, gentle strength exercises a few times a week. Things like body weight squats, wall push-ups, resistance band work can dramatically improve muscle tone, hormone balance, and yes, deep sleep. One fascinating study found that seniors who engaged in even modest strength training 3 times a week experienced significantly deeper and longer periods of slow-wave sleep, the phase where real physical recovery and brain healing happen. So if you've ever thought, I'm too old to exercise, think again. Movement is medicine, and it's one of the most powerful ways to rebuild the kind of sleep that makes you feel young again. And here's a little extra secret. The time of day you exercise matters. Gentle morning exercise, combined with sunlight exposure, can supercharge your circadian rhythm reset. But heavy, intense exercise too close to bedtime can actually keep you awake by elevating your core temperature and stress hormones. So aim to finish any vigorous workouts at least 3 hours before bed, and save the evenings for stretching, walking, or relaxation. Now let's zoom out for a second. You've learned so much already about the adenosine system, brain cooling, sunlight, food timing, nasal breathing, cool rooms, digital sunsets, and muscle strength. Each of these strategies on its own is powerful, but together, they're life-changing. Together, they create what sleep scientists call a positive feedback loop. You sleep better, which gives you more energy during the day. More energy means more movement and healthier choices. Healthier choices reinforce better sleep. It becomes easier and easier. You build momentum. You reclaim your nights and your days. And you become part of that rare 2%. The seniors who don't dread bedtime but welcome it. The ones who wake up refreshed, energized, and ready to savor every moment of their golden years. So if you're sitting there thinking, this sounds wonderful, but can it really be that simple? Let me leave you with this. Your body is incredibly wise. It knows how to heal, how to sleep, how to thrive. It just needs the right conditions, the conditions nature intended to do its work. And you have the power, starting tonight, to create those conditions. No pills, no gimmicks, no complicated routines. Just simple, natural habits rooted in science and in common sense that reconnect you with the rhythms of life. You don't have to accept poor sleep as part of aging. You don't have to surrender your mornings to fatigue and fog. You can wake up at 65, 75, even 85 feeling strong, vibrant, and fully alive. And if you're ready to take the next step in your health journey, click to watch the next video you see on screen, where we'll dive even deeper into more simple science-backed tricks that can make your best years truly your healthiest yet. You deserve it. Your body deserves it. Let's make it happen together.